we want to be able to not see these buttons here if you are not the one that posted the content, right? So right now I'm actually logged in as where am I logged in? All right, that's my actual user right there. So I should be able to see my own edit and delete, but not when I go to somebody else's profile down here. And also I've noticed something, when I go to this user right here, the profile image changes to that user at the top here, which is not what it's supposed to be. All right, so let's get into it. So first of all, let's see how we can make these disappear. Now we can do this quite easily by making a function. So let's create a function in one of these classes. So since it's a post, we're going to go to the class post. Let's open that up. So we have a function called delete post. So what we could do is one function that confirms yes or no if I own the current post. So we're going to call that one, it could be English. Do I own post? Let's say I underscore own post, like that. So the function I own post, so it returns a yes or no, or true or false. So we're going to supply a post ID, and then it's going to tell us whether we actually own that post or not. And how does it know whether I own the post? It's just going to check who the user is. It's going to check, let's come here to the posts table. It's going to check the post ID and then check the user ID. If that user ID matches the user ID that I'm currently using right now, then I actually indeed own the post. Okay, so first of all, if the post ID is not numeric, then we return false. We tell you definitely don't own this one. Okay, and then if we bypass that, we're going to have a query here where we read. Now we already have we copy it from here. If we go up here, we already have this query where we selected one single post. So we're going to steal that down here and come to I own post and put that there. So select from post where post ID is, go to that one. Okay, well and good. So now we are returning a result from here. Oh, and wait a minute. How did this even work? We were supposed to use delete, save here instead of read. Anyway, regardless, the query was run. So here as well, we're going to read, and to read, we will have a result here. Result is equal to. Now we have to make a comparison here with the current session. So we don't want to pass in the session directly here. Let me come back here to, let me go up here. This session user ID, that's what determines who is logged in. So if I come back here, I don't want to paste it here like I said previously, because using global variables inside classes is discouraged, because if you move your code to another project, it won't work. So we might as well just put it here, and we don't need to use the session variable. We can just use it as a normal variable like that. So my book user ID. So when we get the result here, okay, first of all we have to check if the result is an array. So if is array result, okay, if it's not an array, then something went wrong, so we return false. Or we just ignore that. Instead of adding all these else, we just wait. If it gets to the end here, we return false. Okay, so if things go well, it will return true here, and since return will move away from the function, we will never get to this part. So what we will do is ask the question if, right, if result, we are looking for the user ID. If the user ID in there is equal to what did we call it, my my book user ID, which is right there. So if these two are the same, then voila, you own the post. Return true. Okay, anything else will return false. Pretty good. All right, so I own post is our function right now. So let me go to the post.php page. Now this is the one that contains each individual post here. So this is the one in the, not in the classes folder, but at the top here, post.php. So this one is the one that has the edit and so on. So I want to only show this part if I actually I own this content. So I will put a some PHP tags here and then close them down here. And of course we will have to echo these. So I will write echo, but I'll use a single quote since we're using double quotes inside here, like so. Now I'm not sure if this is going to evaluate because of the single quotes, so what I will do is, and since we are already echoing here, we don't need to echo it there again. So what we will do is remove the echo over here. Okay, this becomes a little bit complicated. So what I will do, it's supposed to be like this. What I will do is, as usual, delete all the double quotes in here and use single quotes. Oh, sorry, I went overboard. So let me go Control D, delete them and put single quotes, and of course put the double quotes outside so that this will evaluate, like so. All right, there we go. Everything is awesome. Now what we need is an if statement. Okay, now it's simple. Now at this point we're going to ask the question is if I own this post. Now to activate this we'll need the post class, so we have to make sure that the post class is actually activated. So we'll go to the delete, because this is where we are. No, actually it's not the delete, it's in another place. Okay, just to be sure that it's actually activated, we can simply create a new one up here if we are not sure. So we're going to say post is equal to new post, right? Like so, just in case. And then we're going to use that same post and say post I own post, open and close. And what we need to supply is the post ID. But out here we have to put the inverted commas like so. So if it returns true, then show this. So let me move this down here and move the echo. Okay, it's that easy. So let's test our newfound powers. So, and as you predicted, we have a fatal error. Now this error is so fatal it crashed the program. So let's see what's so critical. Unquote argument count error. Okay, so what this means is that the number of arguments is less than what I'm supposed to supply. So what does that mean? So here you see on the function I own post, I've given it the post ID, but I'm missing something. If I go to the post.php here, you see there's post ID and I need to supply this one. Now, if for some reason I want to make this optional, I could give it a default value, something like 0, like so. If I do this, then this becomes optional and it won't give me this error, like so. All right, so that would be a default value. Unquote error. So this is something else that we have to deal with. But then again, so you see I don't own the 0 post there, so that's why it does retain that. But this is not what we want. We don't want this to be optional. We want to be able to supply this. So if I go back here, let me go and copy it from here, the session variable, and I can put it right there. So remember, just don't put session variables in classes, inside classes. Anywhere else it's fine. So here I own posts, and then put a comma and put the session variable right there. Okie dokie. So let's test that out. And there we go. You see the delete and edit have disappeared. However, we have another error in post.php, the one that's inside classes, of course. So it's inside the class on line 152. It's saying it doesn't know the index user ID. So let's go back here and see what's that about. So 152 is line here. So it's saying it doesn't know this one. But how is that possible? So let's go back to our database to make sure that we have user ID, and it's right there. So what is going on? So what we could do is select from post, just to make sure this is where we are selecting from. Results, user ID. This looks legit, but let's come up here and say print readable result. I just want to see what result we got from there. So let me refresh. So as you can see, there's post ID, and what do you know, there's user ID. So why does it keep telling me unidentified index user ID? All right, so I figured out the issue here. Let me go back. If we look closely at this thing, we have an array inside an array. So there's an array here and there's another array here. So there's this 0, which it returns one result, which is in array location 0, and then there's an array inside there. So we have to bypass this 0 right here. Okay, my bad. This is why in the previous one up here I did this to bypass that 0 mark. So that's what I needed to do here. I should have said result 0 like so. So the first result, user ID. I think we should be good now. Okay, there we go. Everything looks awesome. Now I can view the delete and edit. However, if I go back to my profile, as you can see, it's there. Okay, now in the next video we're going to deal with this issue of not having the right image here, because if I go to somebody else's page, I tend to get their likeness at the top there, which is not cool. All right, so see you in the next video.